to Real Estate Coaching Radio, America's #1 trusted resource for realtors who demand authentic, real-time coaching. Starring award-winning real estate coaches Tim and Julie Harris. Get ready for unfiltered, full-strength honesty about what is truly working to get you into action and make you money in this new real estate boom. Now to our hosts, Tim and Julie Harris.
Welcome back to Real Estate Coaching Radio, and I have to say, for some reason I'm not quite clear of, considering it's now officially today the hottest day in Texas for the entire year, Julie and I are actually kind of bouncing off the walls today. You know, it's probably because we had so much fun putting together the topic of today's radio show. We were just talking about before the show. 10 strategies to stop toxic people from driving you nuts. Of course, Julie and I were thinking of some extra strategies that we don't think we should be sharing on the radio, you know, that maybe wouldn't be safe for public consumption, but we might get to those anyway, just to entertain all of you. So we're going to start a new section on the Daily Radio Show where we are going to acknowledge agents out there, coaching clients in particular, but agents in general, it doesn't have to be a coaching client, who are doing something exceptional in their community, maybe just exceptional in their own practices. Anything that we can do basically to highlight people that are really going above and beyond in the real estate industry. And I think, Julie, you have 2 or 3 people to kick this new segment off before we get to today's topic.
Yeah, I'm going to start. I actually have to pull up the other 2, but the first one that I wanted to share is coming from our great coach, Buddy West, who is coaching an agent named Cindy Schultz in New York City. And Cindy just landed an amazing project of 996 units, might as well say 1,000 units, give or take, in Manhattan with the second largest developer in New York City. So fantastic work. Kudos to Cindy. Now, how did she do it? Well, she was very specialized in her approach. She asked them what they wanted instead of assuming that she knew all of that about them. And they were a little bit different type of developer, more investor-oriented and maybe not your cookie-cutter listing appointment. And this is a good opportunity to point out that all of our coaches are versed in how to think out of the box, how to coach you when it's not such a cookie-cutter standard, you know, $180,000 cookie-cutter 5-year-old house, right? So this was a different type of project, and Cindy was very coachable, used all of her great skills, and landed 996 units. So kudos to Cindy. Nice job on that, and nice coaching by Buddy as well. So I wanted to just recognize her and let her know we're so proud of her and excited for her. What a great project.
And Dave Huffman also, one of our coaches, also sent in another nominee. Did you have that one at the ready, Julie?
I am trying to get that right now.
I thought because you were talking long about Cindy that you didn't have Dave's or T.
Well, we really like Cindy too, but yes.
Yes, that's true. So find that one. So Cindy, congratulations. That's certainly going to create a lot of nice inventory for you for the years to come.
And so
yes,
I got it.
So
okay.
Go ahead.
Yes, from Coach David Huffman, and this is about Adrienne Otto, and has been a relatively new coaching client that went from 1 listing and no pendings to now Adrienne has 5 active listings, 3 pending, 2 buyer apps this week, and 1 listing appointment, as well as working on another offer. And that's all with being brand new in the marketplace, just moved to town, didn't know anyone. That's without a center of influence. So I think that that is extra impressive. So first of all, nice job, David, getting Adrienne into action quickly, and great job to Adrienne for actually being coachable and implementing and getting it together so fast. That's fantastic.
But if I remember correctly, having read that email, the coaching client was new in the market, like less than 90 days new, if I remember correctly.
Brand new.
Yeah, and as far as coaching with us, I may have this wrong, but I think that their time with us as a coaching client was also less than 90 days. So the moral of the story, and I might be wrong about that second fact, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about the first one. The moral of the story, guys, is, and for you, Adrienne, congratulations on really taking advantage of this market. It's pretty amazing, I have to say, how I'm very selective when I use this word, but I sincerely mean it, how easy it is to be successful in real estate, provided you're willing to do the work. Guys, you should always write this down. I try to say it on every radio show because it's so true, and nobody else will tell you this because it's kind of anti-motivational, but it's true. success, long-term ever-increasing success, not just occasional success, comes from doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at the highest level. And when you hear about somebody like Adrienne, or you hear about Cindy, or you hear about a lot of the other coaching clients and agents across the country that are doing great, you've got to accept the fact that what they're doing isn't so much different than what maybe you're doing. They're just doing it when they don't feel like it. In other words, a lot of agents will wait around for them to feel a certain way before they actually will take action in a meaningful way. So remember the saying, and this is, again, I realize that it's kind of the opposite of something that would normally motivate you, but it's long-term, ever-increasing success comes from doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it, and the most important part, at the highest level. So you can't just call it in. You actually have to make the effort to actually do the work. And then, guys, I mean, come on now. Where can you make this kind of money and have this kind of opportunity to help people? I cannot think of a single industry that allows you this sort of, really personal and financial opportunity like real estate does. So don't let it get by you. There's still plenty of time this year to make this a great year. And by the way, the work you're doing now, remember, is teeing you up for the first part of next year. So just keep that in mind. So, Julie, anything else you'd like to share with our listeners before we get to point number one? Yes, go ahead.
One more real quick shout out. This person is being coached by Bill Bird, and her name is Deanne Dillard. So this is kind of a different profile. Deanne is a full-time mom of 4, 3 of them being teenage girls. So we have a lot of coaching clients that are balancing, real estate and family life, and Deanne has been able to close 5 deals in July and has 24 active listings. So nice job, Deanne, and great coaching by Bill there. So
how many teenage daughters did she have? Did you say 4?
That's 4 kids, and 3 of them are teenage girls. So I'm imagining she probably has her hands full.
Well, I'm thinking that she probably needs to be earning that kind of money in order to basically keep
probably. There's the motivation, right?
Yeah. Having lots of shoes to buy and mouths to feed will definitely keep somebody working. All right.
Indeed.
So, listeners, we also received notification that our listenership on a regular basis is increasing at a really impressive rate. And at the end of the day, it's because of you guys. I know you're sharing the radio show. We see the links getting shared. So you can track all that, and we sincerely appreciate you, listeners, making this the #1 real estate radio show out there. As you guys know, our main focus is agents, right? We're really, really focused on the individual real estate practitioner. We talk occasionally about brokerages. We talk occasionally about other things, but at the end of the day, we're here for you. We're not trying to be something that or present something that we're not truly experts at. What we're experts at, where our passion is helping you guys as individual agents, whether you have teams, whether you have an assistant, whether you're a sole practitioner, really become as successful as you choose to be. And I think that's resonating with all of you, otherwise the show wouldn't be so popular. So we have a great topic today, something that hopefully you'll have fun with because we had fun putting it together. 10 strategies to stop toxic people from driving you nuts. Julie, is this the latest version after we did the updates last night when we were talking?
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. All right, so you can go ahead and get to your point #1, Miss Julie.
Okay, great. So point #1 is have systems in place to identify what we lovingly call early warning signs before you're too deep into the relationship. And I actually had a coaching call myself with one of our top agents on this very topic this morning. So have systems in place to identify early warning signs before you're too deep into it. Pre-qualify 100% of your buyers and sellers for motivation. Pre-qualify 100% of your buyers and sellers for motivation. Now, is their motivation logical? Is there a time frame? Are they working with other agents? Use scripts so that you're consistent each and every time. So many agents that we talk to have separate rules for separate situations. Well, I only pre-qualify if I didn't know them. I only pre-qualify if they weren't a referral. I only ask those tough questions if I think there's reason to believe maybe they're talking to another agent. Well, cut that out. Just standardize your pre-qualification. Does that make sense, Tim?
It does. And that first point being the most basic of all of our points is there because what happens is if you don't pre-qualify, if you're working with somebody who never buys or somebody who won't price right or somebody who won't adjust for the market's changing conditions or whatever, it's because sometimes they're driving you nuts and maybe they're making unrealistic demands of you. Maybe they're all this other stuff and they're doing all this other stuff. Maybe the reality of it is because they aren't motivated. So you have created what is only be described as a toxic situation because of the fact that you're trying to motivate unmotivated people. That is the biggest burnout recipe that there is in real estate. So if you have listings, which hopefully all of you have lots, or if you have buyers, which hopefully, frankly, you're not really worrying too much about buyers, you're just focusing on listings. If you've been listening to us for any length of time, you know that's our primary focus for you guys, teaching you how to be listing agents. Nothing wrong with buyers, but the power, the leverage in this business is on the listing side of things. So if you're looking at your listings board right now, if you don't know exactly what percent of the folks are have-tos versus want-tos, and go back and listen to past radio shows. Actually, just the other day, I know Inman did an article about our definition of a have-to-sell seller versus a want-to-sell seller, so go back and listen to that. So bottom line is if you've got a bunch of want-tos, they're going to drive you nuts, and then you will have created a toxic situation. So point number 2 is know that when you generate tons of business, you don't have to tolerate toxic business. How many times have you worked with toxic people because you didn't have enough in the pipeline and figured, what the heck? The more business you have, the less you'll say yes to questionable prospects. In other words, if you generate, you don't have to tolerate. If you generate business, new qualified, motivated, have-to-sell sellers or truly motivated buyers, you're going to discover that life becomes a lot easier, and then you don't have to allow the marginal folks. And again, we're not talking about them, even on a personal level. We're talking about just mostly on a motivational level. We're going to get to the more sociopathic tendencies of toxic people here in a second. So the more you generate qualified prospects, the less you have to tolerate unqualified toxic relationships in your real estate practice. You need to be honest with yourself. If you're working with any buyers right now, and you've been working with them for more than 30 days, I can pretty much guarantee you to a person, they're all basically thinking about leasing again for another 6 to 12 months. In other words, you've wasted a good bit of your spring and summer working with what could only have been described as non-motivated folks. Well, they couldn't find anything, or they got outbid. Well, if they were truly motivated, they would have been able to bid more, or they have been less picky. So you need to be real. If you've got people in your pipeline that are not actually acting like, buyers buy. That is the definition of a buyer. So if you've got a buyer that's been in your pipeline for more than 30 days that you think that you're rationalizing, well, this is a real buyer, but they haven't bought, it's time for you to cut bait because they're probably not going to buy, especially this time of year. If you've got sellers that won't price right, and the market's not appreciating, I know some markets it is, but if the market's not coming to meet the sellers at their price, you need to use our scripts. Mr. Seller, you're just priced a little bit ahead of the market. We need to reposition the house in the market so that it correctly reflects the buyer's expectations. And if they don't and won't price correctly, you need to cut bait because they are forming a little toxicity in your business, and it's going to drive you nuts. And the worst part is, and let's be honest, if you have a bunch of sellers that are unmotivated, that will never sell, but they're on a board, it creates a false sense of security for you. You actually think you're doing your job, but you're not. And those folks are actually going to demotivate you because as you see them expire, it's going to basically take wind out of your sails. So be willing to be honest and cut bait if these folks are truly not motivated. Point number 3, Julie.
Point number 3, Tim, is that it is not a symptom of real estate. A lot of agents will walk around saying that, gosh, real estate is just full of these crazy people. No, it's dealing with the public. Every business that's successful, meaning they're successful because they help a lot of people, they serve a lot of people, every business like that has toxic people slip under the radar from time to time. It's a numbers game. It's not because of real estate. So don't convince yourself that there's only, toxic, crazy, sociopathic types that slip under your radar. It's any business that deals with a lot of people. It's a numbers game. And that points to number 4. And then we're going to talk about some early warning signs. How do you spot this so that you can decide maybe not to deal with somebody? Because it is kind of, a little below the radar, to be honest. So let's do point number 4, and then we'll talk a little bit about that. Go ahead.
So let's talk again. Let Julie read number 4, and let's vamp on it just a bit so these guys can get an idea.
Yeah, you got it.
That sometimes we are all about you guys taking responsibility for everything, but as Julie's about to share with you, sometimes it literally isn't your fault because you're just dealing with someone who is a sociopath. So Julie, go ahead and read that.
They are out there. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Point number 4. It's not you. It's them. And it's really easy sometimes when you're busy in real estate to convince yourself maybe there's something wrong with you. So bad behavior, toxic behavior, sociopathic stuff, it's not normal. It's not. But you can only own that thought when you use scripts, you pre-qualify, you know your facts and stats, and that you have confidence in your skill set. Otherwise, maybe it is something you're doing, but let's assume that it's really not you, it's them. So it's an interesting fact that 4%, and that doesn't sound like a very big number until we really look at it, 4% of the population is what we would call a absolute sociopath. That's 12 million people in this country. Now, how do you spot one? Well, here are some specific points that those of you who want to eliminate toxic behavior from your practice and your life should write down and look at as early warning signs. Superficial charm and good intelligence. Absence of delusions and other signs of irrational thinking. It's not necessarily obvious. They're not nervous. They don't have neurotic manifestations, but they are unreliable and unpredictable. Untruthfulness, insincerity, lack of remorse and shame, people that cop an attitude and then don't really seem to care that they hurt your feelings. Inadequately motivated and antisocial behavior. I think inadequately motivated is an easier one to spot in real estate. Antisocial behavior, when you are always calling and following up, but you never hear back from them, that's one little clue. Poor judgment, they fail to learn by experience. Egocentricity and incapability of love, okay? They don't have a lot of insight, they're unresponsive, and here's the thing though, they're really good at covering these things up, okay? They tend not to have a specific life plan. So these are some things to look for, and if you guys look back at your most toxic relationships in real estate, you probably can identify some of these early warning signs like lack of responsiveness or shooting off a quick chat to you that was very volatile and then disappearing. That's a very early warning sign. And the conversation that I had with somebody I was coaching this morning, she said, you know what? I knew it going in that something was wrong with this deal. I knew it. And because it was a referral, I did it anyway. But she absolutely saw the early warning signs. So realize, 4 in 100 people are absolutely certifiable sociopaths. So that means that out of every 100 deals, chances are you're dealing with at least 4 crazy people. That's just the stats. I mean, does that make sense? Tim, we used to say in the listing appointment, they sent their representative, and then when you're in contract, you find out who they really are. Those were some of those tough situations. We dealt with a lot of it.
It's basically it's folks that literally do not have the hard wiring to feel empathy for other people, and so and they know
they don't have it.
They're
missing.
Sociopaths know that they're different, but they think their difference of that lack of empathy actually makes them superior. They see that people that show empathy and show compassion as inferior to them because they recognize this difference, and because they've lived with it all their lives. They've figured out great ways to fake emotion. So when you will have, it's inevitable, sociopaths in your life. And Julie just gave you guys a lot of tells for them, but they're very good at sliding under the radar and then showing up as a normal person. And then usually not too much time, you start figuring out basically, they're missing a few tools from the toolbox, or as our friend Brad Inman likes to say, they're missing a few fries from their Happy Meal. But the reality of it is that when you have people that you identify as sociopaths, there's only one correct course of action. Get the hell rid of them fast. You need to cut them out of your lives instantly, as quickly as you can. If you find yourself right now in a relationship in any variety with a sociopath, you've got to understand it's not going to get any better. That is who they are. They literally cannot fix themselves. It's not something any amount of counseling or training or whatever is going to fix. There's an old, actually, Julie, it was Rory, our first broker, told us this. This was 25 years ago or whatever. But Julie and I were humming along, selling lots of houses. We sold over 100 houses our first year in business, basically right out of college, not quite right out of college, but pretty close. And I remember we had one, maybe 2 people in particular that were just batshit crazy. You can't make them happy. I actually remember the one gal who actually was our first true sociopath. She listed this ridiculously hard to find property with us out in the middle of nowhere. We took it because we wanted to earn her business for other properties that she had, and we sold it really, really quick. And she didn't get mad. She got I mean, evil. It was crazy.
Yeah,
you know
I do remember that. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, they stick with you.
Yeah, and I mean, because it was so different. The behavior was so incredibly powerful as far as how just absolutely scary it felt. So we got rid of her. That's it. We walked away from the transaction. Wasn't worth it. Wasn't worth what would come as, down the road from her. So, it doesn't matter if you're Nordstrom's, let's say, for example, who's known for great customer service. Nordstrom's knows, no matter how good a job they do, that there's going to be 1 in 100 people that are, off the rocker, and you cannot make them happy. You're no different. You are dealing with the general public. You're going to run across people that are straight up, must-avoid types. And give yourself permission when you run up against these people to cut them free as fast as possible. Don't let them linger, because what happens is they love that. They will stick within your head. They will stay within. They will basically become super destructive.
Well, they do it for sport, if we're being honest. Some of them are that way.
They do. Yeah, they do. I mean, we've had coaching clients like that, where you quickly kind of figure out that, okay, there's, something's not quite right, and then we fire them. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to keep people like that in your life, because they just are very effective at, causing controversy. It's what they thrive on. So bottom line here, guys, is recognize that you are probably or have had or may have in the near future somebody in your life that is straight up sociopathic. Those types of toxic people are the worst. Get rid of them as fast as possible. It's inevitable that you will or have or are coming in contact with those types of folks, but they're 4% of the population. That is a lot of folks out there. Julie, I don't know what this tie-in is, but there was a great article I read on Inman Select yesterday, and you guys must be reading these Inman Select articles. So many cool articles coming out of Inman Select after the Inman Connect event in San Francisco. For a long time, there's been a lot of false promises about technology and real estate, and about this, all these, certain white horses with knights coming and, curing all the ills of the real estate industry. And those types of stories have been going on, and those types of promises have been made for over the past 10 years. But for the first time, I'm actually seeing true companies emerge using all the best practices of the companies that have come before them. And we're actually starting to see some significant changes happening that are benefiting you guys, the real estate practitioner. And a lot of effort has been done on CRMs. A lot of effort's been done on getting you guys to buyer leads. But now what we're seeing is we're literally seeing things that are emerging technologically that are going to make it so that your entire real estate business, all the things that, say, Julie and I had to do that took a good 3-4 hours a day are now done in a snap of fingers, as far as the management of things, as far as, all the intricacies of a real estate transaction. That means you can focus more of your efforts on the things that are actually going to generate a real estate transaction, and less of your efforts on, frankly, wasting time. And the thing that really makes me excited about some of the things I've been reading about on Inman Select specifically are the fact that you guys can now leverage technologies that cost dollars per month, and means you don't have to hire an assistant. So we're all about profit, right? The product of your real estate business, yes, it's happy customers. Yes, it's closed transactions. Yes, it's this, it's that, the other. All the things that agents normally say. But the true product of your real estate practice, guys, is profit. And if you're not making profit, then you're not really running a business. You're running a nonprofit. A profit is what you put in your pocket, what you reinvest to make you rich, okay? So be clear on that. That is really the only point of being in business, guys, unless you're running a nonprofit. So I am seeing technologies finally come together that are making it so agents can essentially run smaller, more efficient teams or businesses and produce more profit. Now that, to Julie and I and all of our coaches, that's exciting. That's what technology is supposed to do. If you guys aren't reading these stories, if you're not aware of what I'm talking about, you've got to become a subscriber to Inman Select. You're truly missing out on some of the best information that's out there if you're not subscribing. So, Julie, what's the next point?
Point number 5 is accept the fact that occasionally you will have toxic people in the middle of your transactions. Part of this is because they're so good at hiding the fact that they're toxic. So your job is to not join them. Be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Don't have your buttons pushed by them. Don't take their bad behavior personally. So I used to have this visualization that I had like this force field where negativity would bounce off of me when I dealt with this stuff in real estate, because Sometimes it doesn't come out until you're, right in the middle of the inspection. So make the commitment that you're not going to take it personally, but accept the fact that sometimes it happens. So point number 6 is set the example. Be the change that you want to see. Look for ways to take leadership instead of feeling like the victim when you deal with these people, and you'll earn repeat and referral business as a result. Because here's the thing, Tim, people notice, the rest of the people in the transaction, they notice when you do a great job dealing with crazy people. That's the business you want, the people who appreciate that you handled it with grace. Does that make sense?
Take a look at your chat. So, guys, here's the bottom line. What Julie just shared with you was a little survival strategy. When you have something that feels toxic that shows up in your email from a transaction or from a whatever, right, buyer, seller, all the normal things. When you feel like something is essentially causing you to feel anxiety, one of the best strategies when you start feeling those emotions from other people is literally just to take a step back. Very rarely is your first reaction to something that came from a feeling of anxiety, very rarely is that going to be your best reaction. So when you have those toxic people, those toxic situations, when you have those sort of, stress-filled, drama-inducing type things that pop up on your radar, opposed to jumping in there, because right there when something shows up, oh my God, this is super, super urgent, and then you react, you're not reacting from or bringing to the situation your A game. You're bringing to that situation a fear-based ego mentality of, that's going to result in more drama, that's going to result in more stress. And then what happens? The day ends, but you're still feeling that way. And then the day begins tomorrow, and you're still feeling that way. So have a little strategy in place that when that drama shows up in your life, as much as you can, put it in a little mental box, a shoe box. This is, what Julie and I do. And put a lid on it and put it up on the shelf and let it ruminate. Because here's the thing that's interesting, especially about real estate transaction drama or drama with buyers or sellers. Most times it's just what Julie and I refer to as a mental fart. So they're going to have some seller had a bad day. They got whatever happened. Somebody cut them off in traffic. They, drama happened in their own lives. They're driving home. They see your for sale sign in their yard. The for sale sign's crooked, and let's say, God forbid, there's no, flyers in the brochure box or something like that. They're going to call from the driveway on their cell phone before they go in the house and, yell at you. Okay, they're going to be sometimes, you guys have had this happen, where just out of the blue, somebody's just kind of nasty. When you get something like that, when you just get those crazy emails or those crazy texts, you just do not react. Just save yourself. Protect yourself. Protect your mindset. Take a step back. Say, you know what? I bet you 10 or 15 minutes from now, this emotion that caused this person to feel this way is going to have totally left their minds, and they're not going to feel this way anymore. And then I will reach back to them, or I'll contact them, or I'll call them. That's how you guys can start building up your own technique for protecting yourself against, people that are basically toxic, or in the worst case scenario, the sociopaths out there. So, Julie, we're going to pick up where we left off tomorrow on point number 7. Anything else you'd like to say to these guys before we bounce?
Well, I think the parting thought is that you're in good company. Everybody deals with this. It's not you, it's them. Just make sure you've got strategies in place and know that eventually you'll be done with them and move on to nice people who know, love, and trust you. So it's all good, and we'll help you more with this with additional points tomorrow.
And guys, remember, if there's ever anything we can be doing for you, request a free coaching call at freecoachingcallsforagents.com, freecoachingcallsforagents.com. And when you do request a free coaching call, all you've got to do is request the call. We're going to give you copies of 2 of our books. One is the Real Estate Treasure Map, and the other is Think and Grow Rich for Real Estate. You get those emailed to you. You get links. You can download them. You can listen to them, read them on your Kindle or whatever. They're really ideal companions for your permanent real estate education bookshelf. So if there's ever anything we can be doing for you guys, always remember, freecoachingcallsforagents.com. We are fortunate that we have sincere passion for not only this radio show, but helping you guys succeed in your businesses. Our coaching clients know it. And I love, nothing makes me happier professionally, not personally, but professionally, than hearing about success stories like the ones that Julie and I shared with you at the top of today's radio show. We're going to start doing that every single day, just so you guys can hear stories about other agents probably similar to you that are being successful in this market, and hopefully you'll feel some motivation from that. In the meantime, if there's anything we can be doing for you, request a free coaching call at freecoachingcallsforagents.com. Have a fantastic day. We'll talk with you on the radio tomorrow.
This program has been a presentation by Tim and Julie Harris, Real Estate Coaching. For more information on our real estate coaching and training programs, visit our website at timandjulieharris.com. Remember to tune in weekdays at noon for upcoming shows, and until next time, thank you for listening to Real Estate Coaching Radio with Tim and Julie Harris.